I'm sure you know this, that most New Year's resolution fail before February. Not because the people who set those resolutions are bad or because they are lazy, but I have discovered that these things happen for two reasons. Number one, because most people use only intentions to actualize their goals, but intentions are not enough, no matter how good they are. And then the number two reason I have discovered is that most people use the wrong strategies to actualize their goals. So this book, The 15 Irrefutable Laws of Growth, has been structured and made in a way that no matter what your goals are, no matter what it is you want to achieve, you can follow these laws to achieve them. When I was making this video, one of the challenges that I had was whether or not to actually go through all the laws or just pick a few laws and talk about them. But I noticed that I have to go through all the laws so that it will help those that want really to know about the laws of growth. So in some of the laws, I will explain them and go deeper into them. But for most of the laws, I will just quote the laws to you and then you can fill in the gap yourself. The first law he talks about in this book is the law of intentionality, and it states that growth does not just happen. Growth is not accidental. You have to be intentional about the growth you are looking for. And in addressing the intentionality, he talks about 8 gap traps that most people face when they are growing intentionally. And the first gap trap is what he calls the assumption gap. I assume I will grow automatically, which is not true. No one grows automatically. The second gap trap is what he calls the knowledge gap. I don't know how to grow. 3, the timing gap. It's not the right time to begin. 4, the mistake gap. I'm afraid of making mistakes. 5, the perfection gap. I have to find the best way before I start. 6, the inspiration gap. I don't feel like doing it. 7, the comparison gap. Others are better than I am. And then the last one is the expectation gap. I thought it would be easier than this. So these are some addresses or some gaps that most people who want to grow intentionally face. Now, the second law number 2, the law of awareness, and it states that you must know yourself to grow yourself. A lot of the time when people are in pursuit of growth, they do not take the time to understand how they are wired. Most people go on the internet, they watch a few videos, they see someone who they admire and they realize that this person has maybe followed a few steps, and because of that they want to implement those same steps into their personal life. And most people fail at that because what may work for person A may not necessarily work for you as a person B. So know yourself to grow yourself. We come to the third law, the law number 3, which is the law of the mirror. You must see value in yourself to add value to yourself. A lot of the times when people are not really taking in effort of growing and they find themselves doing the things that destroy and distract them, is because of one thing, and that thing is because they don't really see the need in them to add value to themselves. There is this book, The 12 Rules for Life by Jordan B. Peterson, and he talks about the second law as treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. He explains that the reason why most people find it difficult to help themselves to do the things that they have to do is because of their self-consciousness of their weaknesses. So if you know you are a lazy person, you know you have shortcomings, and you know that you are not as perfect as you should be, why then will you put in the effort on doing the things that will help you? But you have to know that you are worth investing into. You have to see yourself as someone who is worth investing in, building, in growing. Then you can grow yourself. The fourth law, the law of reflection. Learning to pause allows growth to catch up with you. We live in a very fast-paced generation, and there are lots of information that we are consuming week in and week out, day in and day out. So if we don't take our time to relax and then separate yourself from the information that are being bombarded with every time, you would not really be able to track your growth. Our next law, which is law number 5, is the law of consistency. It states that motivation gets you going, discipline keeps you growing. I have discovered that motivation is a scam, because I personally, when I started my journey of growth, I relied a lot on motivation until I realized that motivation can get you started, but it takes discipline to get you going. One of the things that discipline helps you to do is that you are able to be consistent. So the law of consistency, discipline keeps you growing. The next law is the law of the environment, which states that growth thrives in conducive surrounding. If you are intentional about your growth, you would also be intentional about the places that you spend your time, the people you spend your time with, because whoever it is you surround yourself with has a lot of influence on who you become as a person. The next law is the law of design. To maximize growth, develop strategies. Like we said, that the second reason why most people fail in actualizing their New Year's resolution is because they have the wrong strategies. So if growth is something that you want to take personal and serious this year, you have to be able to maximize your strategies. Pick and choose strategies that are going to help you, good strategies that are best for you. Remember, when you spoke about the second law, you have to know yourself to grow yourself. You have to know what works for you and what does not work for you. Know which law to pick, know which design to adapt into your life. Then you can develop a strategies that maximizes your growth. The law of pain is our next law. Good management of bad experiences lead to great growth. Life is full of many bad experiences. Some that we invite by the choices we make, and some that just find us because that is what life is. But the most important thing is not really what happens to you, it is what you do with what happens. The law of the ladder. Character growth determines the height of your personal growth. Don't just be someone who you are interested in actualizing your goals and you do anything to anyone at any time just so you attain your goals. No, have character, because no matter how intelligent you are, no matter what resources you have, you would not be able to grow as much and as high as you have to if your character is flawed. The law of the rubber band. Growth stops when you lose the tension between where you are and where you could be. That is the law of the rubber band. So set standards and set goals that will stretch you, and then will cause there to be a tension between where you are now and where you could be. And then our next law is the law of trade-offs. You have to give up to grow up. I've been studying the topic of success and people for a long time now, and I can tell you for a fact that no one actually grows without giving up certain things. There are some people that had to give up friends, people that had to give up going out when they were not invited, or going to places that did not help their growth. People had to give up movies, give up social media, give up making excuses in their personal lives, give up the stories they've told themselves over and over again. No matter what it is for you or for anyone that is watching this video, one thing is certain, that if you want to grow up, definitely you have to give up. The law of curiosity. Growth is stimulated by asking why. You have to be curious about the things that are around you. But I believe that one of the most important things you have to be curious about is why you are interested in the things that you are interested in. Why are you interested in growth? Why are you interested in that career choice you have chosen? Why are you interested in making that amount of money you have as your New Year's resolution? Why do you want to lose weight? Because if you cannot answer those basic questions, you do not have that momentum needed to have the things you are wanting in your life. So growth can be and is stimulated by asking why. The law of modeling. This law personally has been a very great law that has helped me. It says that it is hard to improve when you have no one to follow but yourself. Find someone who has attained the level of success you are looking for, and then find out the mindset they had to get those things. Don't just know the people you want to follow, but find out the mindset that they had to adapt in order to get to where they are. Find people who are ahead of you. It could be pastors, it could be business people, it could be athletes or actors. It doesn't matter who they are. Find someone who is ahead of you and emulate those things and those processes that give them the things that they have. The next law is the law of expansion. Growth always increases your capacity, and it is true. There are some problems and some issues you have in your life right now that the only way to solve them is to grow. If you grow, you will realize that those issues were not issues to begin with. So growth always increases your capacity. If you are finding out that your capacity to handle leadership is small, your capacity to handle the business you have is small, then it is time for you to grow. Our last law is the law of contribution. Growing yourself enables you to grow others, and it is very, very, very true. Once you realize that you are on the journey and the path of growth, you discover things that excite you and has helped you. You are eager to share it with someone. Maybe not everyone around you, but you are eager to share it with someone who maybe is at the point that you were when you were struggling, and then you want to extend that help for them. Growing yourself enables you to grow others. So if you watched to the end of this video, I want to say thank you very much for taking your time to watch this video. And if you did find value out of this, please share this video with someone. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And then we would see each other the next time I post a video. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.